Hey there, welcome back.
Hi, folks. What is going on?
How we doing?
I can't answer for everybody else, but I think I'm splendiferous.
I'd say,
or I am, as one of my favorite phrases from one of the favorite people of a lot of people, not just me, Will Ferrell, from Saturday Night Live some years ago. SCRUMPTRULESCENT.
SCRUMPTRULESCENT. I never heard that one. I would go with the fine but not quite dandy from Uncle George Carlin. Anyway, welcome back. We are Mixed Apes. This is...
We are indeed, and this is You Should Know This Song, our podcast.
Of some note. At least I wrote it down on them somewhere.
Right. We made some notes, and we have a hard time finding them, which is why we drift all over the place. This is our show about music and lyrics and lyric challenges and
all that
music
kind of stuff.
And rock, and I'll stop there.
I would. Thank you. I appreciate that.
We appreciate you being here. We're glad to have you here. We hope we can give you a good time for a little while in only the most respectful and
appropriate way. Yeah.
Thanks for filling that in.
I'm respectful. He's appropriate. Let's be clear there.
We're going to get into...
Oh, we got a new one today. We have a new challenge today.
We're going to get into some new material today.
Well, it could be let out a little bit. Sorry. That's old and bad.
I almost didn't catch that one.
I'm sorry for everyone else.
But it was good. I appreciate it.
We have a new...
we have a twist.
A twist. Yes, a new segment called Prime Twist and Shout. You should know the lyrics from Dr. Wu.
Prime, twist, and shout. We're going to flip the prime game. We're going to twist the prime game around.
Nice catch.
So that instead of
offering a lyric for a given song,
right, we're
going to offer a song and require our opponent, the guy across the table,
right,
to come up with a couple of non-chorus lines, or a chorus line, non-chorus lines, or the artist at the very least.
Yes.
You got to be able to come up with something.
Some confirmation that you know.
That you actually have an idea what we're talking about.
Right. The song, the artist. Right.
Okay.
Ideally, you're coming up with a lyric from the song. Again, non-chorus, but yes, artist and so forth, that'll suffice. Yes. Because we're trying this, and we're going to see whether it, tips over on Launchpad or actually makes it into.
So we're going to ask your forgiveness as we stumble through this first occasion. We haven't rehearsed this at all.
You know what? I'm not taking that tack at all. We're gonna
nail this shit.
You can go ahead and You can go ahead and stand down with the congratulations and feeling so blessed to be included in this first go.
Okay, I'm still on my side. You can. That's you.
I was trying to spin it to the other side. So we're gonna do that. Prime, twist, and shout.
And then we've got a Uncontrolled Substance.
Yes.
Really interesting one about cover songs.
Like she was an exception through the late 60s, I guess, right? 70s, 80s, and still today.
And then I think we're going to wrap up with our world famous Ask and Ye Shall Deceive
and Ye Shall
segment.
Deceive.
We did have Ask and Ye Shall Deceive scheduled for this episode. But we've run so long talking about the covers that I think we're going to let that go.
Yeah.
And maybe pick it up next time if that works. Before we get started with all that, because we like nothing better than to bore you with extraneous information, we've had a conversation or two that we had early on about what you should know this song, the phrase itself, really means. Does it mean...
Right.
Well, I mean, does it mean that, like, hey, this is something that you should really know and enjoy because I know the kind of music you like? Or is it more like, man, if you're a music lover, you got to know this song.
Right.
Or is it, man, you should know this.
Right.
All right.
Come on, man.
What do we really mean there?
You should know this song.
Okay. Right. And we had the conversation a couple of times early on when we were going for names, trying to figure out what to call it, right? What that really meant. But we've both been asked, at the very least by my son, independently, and by a couple of other folks, what do we mean when we say you should know this song?
Right.
And the answer is
yes. Exactly.
All of those things.
Is it a challenge? Are we trying to trip the other person up and then let them know you should have that in your vocabulary?
Right, in your music vocabulary.
Right. Or is it I really think you know
would dig this, right?
And you'll appreciate me reminding you of it.
There's that one. And then there's the other one, like, hey man, if you don't know this, here's something that you'll like. That's right up your alley.
Right.
right?
So it applies to all the perspectives on you should know this song.
And we actually did stumble over that before we got started. We
trying
believe
to
it or
come
not,
up
there
with
was
the
some
name.
thought going into that. So
believe it or not, and we wouldn't blame you if you don't, but it's true. We did do some, vacillating over what the name of the show was going to be and how it applies.
But we did vacillate.
So with that said,
you don't use Vaseline to vacillate, by the way.
You don't.
I don't
you?
Personally. I don't know about you. But.
No, I don't. I don't use Vaseline. I don't actually use Vaseline for anything, but certainly not vacillating. We could go on with that, but it's probably going to turn awful.
Yeah, we're going to let go there.
It's already awful. It's probably going to turn awfuler.
So with no further ado-age,
we're going to jump into our first segment, which is Prime, Twist, and Shout. So here it comes.
It is the first time we're doing it, so be patient.
Right. So as we said, Prime, Twist, and Shout, a little turn on our original Prime game, the core of the show. This is a verbally delivered rather than delivered in text. Or
visual or however.
Or visual, right. So we're going to state these challenges to the other person. The other person has to come up with, as we said, a lyric of the song that is not the chorus, and also it should be clarified, not the name of the song, because if we're saying the name of the song, then you don't get to say the name of the song back.
Right. Yes.
Or if it comes down to it, the artist, something to acknowledge that
that you have some idea what the hell you're talking about.
And we're not, because it's our first attempt at this, we're also going to say, if you want to help the other person out, give them a little lyric clue, give them a little more information. I like that.
I'll go one step farther. These are all softballs.
They
The ones that I've done to get started with this, because we haven't done it before.
Yeah,
these are all pretty easy, right?
Should be pretty easy to hit. So
you really should know these.
I'm going to start off.
If you're
okay with that.
What do you got?
With a song named "I Got You, Babe," and I'm going to see.
Well, they say our love won't pay the rent. Before it comes, our money's all
there
off
you
and
go.
And I'm not going to bore you with more of that, but I do know several more lines of the song.
Right.
It's Sonny and Cher.
Pretty soaked into the public awareness there. So
1966 maybe.
Yeah, and that was actually written by Sonny Bono in 1965.
Oh, I was only off by a year.
Yeah, you were only off by a year. Nice. So that's my shot. What do you got?
What I got is, and I saw her standing there.
Well, she was just 17. Do you know what I mean? And the way she looked. Should I keep going? Because I think
you know it.
I would like to do a as old as that song is. Like, how many people know every word to that song? Like, what percentage of the American population knows every word?
I think I could probably get through.
I
could probably get through 85% of it. I'm going to say. But then again, that's my age. Now, could my kids? I can't tell you if they could or not.
Yeah,
I'm not sure
that's
how
what I'm
deep
wondering.
their
It seems like it's still such a, like
ubiquitous.
even people who are in their 30s probably know that song all the way through.
You really think so?
It seems like to me, because that it's such
here's a little homework assignment for you and for me. Is over the next day or so, test your theory.
Yeah, ask.
Let's ask.
Ask some people. Do you know this song?
Do you know this song all the way through? Yeah.
I'll do that.
I got a couple of friends that are in their 40s and 50s across the street. We'll give them a shot.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you know? Saw her standing
so
there
far
all the way
we've
through.
each gotten it with arguably a lay down, but
yeah, but that's kind of what it's supposed to be, and we're getting right to the thought of the song. And the thought of the song, it rang in my head, and I enjoyed thinking about it.
So that was obviously Mr. Lennon and McCartney, Macca as they call him, the Beatles, 1963, from the Please Please Me album.
Okay, I'm going to back you up with Macca.
Yeah.
What I don't know that I've heard that reference.
Really?
Yeah.
I am so surprised at that. That was the nick, like that's what they call him, like his friends and his.
Oh, I thought that was some nickname for the combination of Lennon and McCartney.
No,
just McCartney. I get it. Yeah.
Sorry, thought you knew that.
No, did not know.
Okay, cool.
That.
All right. What do you got?
Okay, here for you is, you should know this song.
You should know this Twisted song.
You should know this Twisted song.
I think
you should know the lyrics to this song. How about that? That's what we're supposed to be saying. You should know the lyrics to this song.
Let's go there then.
You should know a lyric to this song. Cold as ice. You know that.
You're willing to sacrifice our love. You want paradise. And someday you'll pay the price. I know. I've seen it before. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
I'm going to give up there.
Yeah,
That's Ferner. I'm going to say 1975.
Ooh, you are so
off
close.
of the Foreigner album.
That's We have another example, and I think it might be the second in mixtapes history of a song that's newer than you thought it was. It's 1977.
Really?
So it's more current than you thought it was, and that is pretty unusual.
See, and
that was a good throw.
I could actually envision when in my life that album became apparent to me. My brother actually turned me on to that album.
Yeah.
And he'd been turned on to it by some of the guys he worked with at the steel mill in the south side of Chicago.
Oh.
Brought it to him and said, "Hey, have you heard this?" And he, because his stuff was a little heavier that he was listening to.
Yeah.
But it was the same guys that also brought him Jean-Luc Ponty, and
those guys are great. I like them already.
Yeah. A lot of guys from the south side, guys, that turned him on to that
stuff.
Guys.
Those guys. Yeah. I heard that. Yeah.
So anyway,
so that was Foreigner, Cold as Ice, Mick Jones, and on the writing credits, Lou Grammatico.
That may be his
full
his
name,
his actual name.
name.
Yeah, I mean, Lou Gramm had been around for a while.
As
we've discussed before, these guys had all been in Spooky Tooth, several different bands. They were already really good musicians, well known by.
So that made me want to go. I haven't yet, but it does make me want to go search up Lou Grammatico and just see
if there's something else that he was maybe not taking credit for.
A cool thread to go back there.
Cool.
And as we said, 1977. So good call. It's you. What song lyric should I know?
You should know the lyrics from Dr. Wu.
Are you really just the shadow of a?
Oh, come on, brother! You got me on a Steely Dan earlier, so
I can hear it in my head.
Apparently
and it's
not,
coming and going. Of something I once knew. Are you just an ordinary
No, that's the chorus,
guy?
though. You can't use the chorus.
I can't use the chorus. No, I'm not going to come up with.
Really?
It's not coming clear enough.
How about
it is not
5 names that I can hardly stand to hear, including yours and mine, and one more Chip who isn't here?
It is not one of
my
favorite Steely Dan songs. There are two Steely Dan songs that irritate me.
It's actually one of my favorite Steely Dan songs. It's one of my very favorite Steely Dan songs.
Wow, nice. There's something about the melody and the tempo or the tone of the song that does not.
That's surprising.
Me.
How we've known each other this long, and I'm just finding this out. Yeah. I want a divorce.
There's that, and now I'm not going to be able to think of the song. It's just a refrain of a few words. Now you got to tell me everything you did, baby.
Oh yeah, that's Turn Up the Eagles. The radio. Turn up the Eagles. The neighbors are listening.
Yeah.
Everything You Did is the name of the song.
Everything You Did.
Yeah. He comes home and catches her doing something with somebody else.
That can't be the song. There's more words to it. There is a song. I'll think of it later. We don't have to go into it right now.
Oh, no. I was thinking that. Sorry. So anyway, Dr. Wu, Becker and Fagan, as usual with Steely Dan. 19.
Oh, wait.
You want to toss it out? You got something?
I'm going to say 78.
75.
No.
Katie Lied. Name of the album.
Yeah. Katie Lied.
Yes. And
a good album.
Oh, it's a great album.
Yeah, and I love that's title track. A lot of. Well, it's Steely Dan, so you can gush about Steely Dan any more than we have. I bet we spent 10%
of our time.
And in these 10 episodes,
talking about it or avoiding talking about it.
Right. So energy for sure. Okay, my turn. Here I go. You should know some lyrics to this song. What would you say?
What would you say?
Yeah.
That's the name of the song?
Yeah, Dave Matthews.
What would you say?
Mm-hmm.
Toss me a lifeline. Throw out that lifeline. What would you say?
This is fun.
Yeah,
this has got to be super boring for people listening, but I'm watching you right now.
Bird in my head. Yeah.
I'm like, his hair's going to catch on fire.
Throw out that lifeline is the only thing that can. I mean, I've got the rhythm running through my head.
You can hear the song and whatever.
All right, so go ahead and give me a couple of lines since I don't appear to.
Up and down, checked his hair. Fleas and ticks jumped everywhere.
Yeah.
Because of originals.
Yep.
Dave Matthews wrote that song. I don't, and made me curious. I didn't dig into this either. How many of Dave Matthews' songs Dave Matthews wrote?
I would bet you it's going to be like 90%.
I know he wrote a lot of them, but I never really thought about it, and I don't know why.
Or looking if there was someone else out there that was writing along with him.
Yeah, I wanted to see if he collaborated with somebody with regularity or whatever, and I'm not familiar with that. And it also reminds me of the number of people
in his band.
But also the number of people I've come across who, and Dave Matthews, I guess because it most recently reminds me, I most recently was digging around, there's some people out there who are like, they have websites that are entirely dedicated to knowing every hair on his body.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like everything about him, all his surgical procedures.
Like, I don't.
Yeah.
Don't think there's anyone that I want, even me, I don't want to know that much
right,
about.
there's some real fans out there for him. Anyway, so Dave Matthews wrote that in 1994.
Okay.
And the album Under the Table and Dreaming, just fantastic.
Well, the entirety of that album was a hit, right? I mean, like pretty much every song on that. I know that 94 was, my wife and I were married in 95. We had just met in 94, or we're just, and that was a huge, like that was what was on the radio.
It was just all over the place.
Yeah. All right, I have one for you that should be pretty easy for you.
Okay.
I know that you had at least been offered to, if you didn't take up on the offer, singing in a Eagles cover band.
Yeah, we actually practiced a few times.
Right. So the song is Already Gone. You should know some lyrics from this song.
Yeah, well, I heard some people talking just the other day.
Okay.
I know all the lyrics. So
okay, I thought you might.
And they said you were going to put me on a shelf. Pretty good lyrics.
They aren't bad, and they are not
written
written by the Eagles.
Not by Fry or Henley or
Jack Temchin and Rob Strandland.
Wow, really?
Yes.
I never knew.
And I believe it may have actually been at least being prepared to be done by someone else before the Eagles got it. I'm not saying that someone else did it.
Another little interesting tip. Like
there
you can just take a thread with
all day long.
Go down.
Would you care to give a shot at the year?
I should really know this. I mean, I should really be able to say within a couple years. My mind is vacillating between the early 80s and the mid 70s, though. So I'm going to say like 77.
74.
74. Mid 70s. I said mid 70s.
No,
but I was vacillating.
You were, yes. On the Border was the...
Yeah.
And I don't want to say that was their second... The first one was just Eagles, wasn't it?
Yeah.
With the big skull on the front.
Skull on the front. But I think they...
On the Border was second or third album.
Yeah, I think it might have been third. On the Border's such a great song, too. Anyway, that album had... which Eagle album didn't have...
A bunch of hits on it?
A bunch of hits on it.
Yeah, none of them.
I mean, ridiculous.
They all had a bunch of hits on them. But when I hear On the Border, actually my head goes to Al Stewart.
Yeah.
That's the song that comes to mind when someone says
you hear the phrase on the border.
Yes.
Yeah. I can see that. No, I definitely think of that Eagles song because On the Border is a cool rock song to me. Like,
sure.
That guitar riff break in the middle and whatever. We won't go into that. Okay, so
you got one for me?
I got it coming next. How about Do You Feel Like We Do? You should know some lyrics to this song.
Oh, yeah. It may take me a minute. I can say Bob Mayo on the keyboards. Bob Mayo on the keyboards. My friend got busted just the other day. Is that what he says?
It's one of them, but one of them woke up this...
woke up this morning with a wine glass in my hand. Whose wine? What wine? Where the hell did I die?
There you go.
But I think he says my friend got busted.
Yeah.
They said don't walk away.
Don't walk away.
Must have been a dream. Don't believe where I've been. So
yeah.
I know those. Yeah.
You're there. You got it. Good deal.
So that's going to be
Peter Frampton
from Frampton Comes Alive is where everybody knows it from.
Right.
But where's
the live album was that everybody knows
that everybody had.
Everybody had and knows 3 or 4 of Frampton's most prominent songs.
At least.
From. Can you name the year?
I can name
Actually, this is not right because the information that I got is going to be the year of the song's original release.
Right. So that's going to be 72, 71.
Ooh, 73. Very close.
Okay.
Very close. 73.
Because Frampton Comes Alive was 76.
Right.
And there were a couple of albums worth of hits on
combined material. So that was written by Rick Willis, Peter Frampton, Mick Gallagher, and John Siomos, and again released in '73.
So not the lineup that was with him on the Frampton Comes Live album, not the entirety of the lineup. Anyway.
Right. So interesting. That's
what was the album?
I don't have it.
You didn't capture it? Okay, not a big deal.
I don't have it.
I got So this one is a really. You're welcome. You should know the lyrics to "Tempted."
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The line that pops to mind: "I bought a novel, some perfume, a fortune over you, but it's not my conscience that hates to be untrue." Right. Yeah. Of course, that's the Squeeze.
The Squeeze.
And "Tempted by the Fruit" and
"Tempted." It's just "Tempted."
Tempted, right. 80. Is it 80? Oh my gosh, it's not, is it?
Just finished 80.
83, 82.
81. Yeah. And it's still broken differed. The prime songwriters.
Songwriting team, yeah, exactly.
The album? I wouldn't have known this album name. And I know you're a huge Squeeze fan, so I'm going to give you the option.
Nope.
Okay, it's East Side Story.
East Side Story, there you go.
Cool.
Didn't have it. Now that song is ringing in my head. Can we stop for a minute? Let me listen to the rest of it. I'm be banging on the table, tapping my toes. But I just got to say, not that it should be an exception among what we've been talking about, but I am a Squeeze fan. Go listen to some Squeeze as soon as we're done.
You actually caught me.
Go listen to Tempted. Go listen to Black Coffee in Bed. Go listen to
lyrics from
Pulling Muscles from
a Shell.
Oh my gosh!
You caught me with lyrics from. There was something else.
I don't know that Squeeze song. There was something else.
There were two in not recent history, but in the last couple of years, where you hit me with and the Pulling Muscles from a Shell one. I never knew those lyrics. Like I know them now.
Yeah,
it was Maid Marian, that part.
Right.
Yeah.
And her tiptoe feet. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's such a cool song. The phrasing on the lyrics is really great.
And that's kind of the cool thing about Squeeze.
Yeah, of their...
it's definitely very poppy.
Yeah.
Okay, without question, but I don't mind it from them because the lyrics are just so well crafted. The rhymes, the way it goes together,
the way they put it together.
There's some really interesting.
There's some interesting musical breaks and some, they're great. They're all great musicians, but the phrasing and the timing of some things.
Yeah, and I know, really it's not a band that everybody is in love with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But hey, that's too bad for them. So,
okay, what I have for you next is you should know some lyrics to Jane Says.
Jane says, "Have you seen my wig around? I feel naked without it."
Yeah.
Jane says, "There goes Giorgio." Like we can do this, right?
Yeah.
So Jane's Addiction.
It's okay, man.
And what a great band. I really.
She takes a swing, but she can't hit.
Yeah.
What a great band. What a great song. Super enjoyable tune.
It's got to be at least 25 years old.
Hey, that is really close. 1990.
Well, they're being inducted.
Actually, that's freaking 35. Sorry.
Yeah, they're being considered for Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year. So
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Right.
That was written by Dave Navarro, included in the writing of that. Eric Adam Avery, Perry Farrell, and Stephen Perkins. So,
Dave Navarro was pretty around back then, like doing a lot of different stuff.
He was around, but I didn't realize him having any credit for songwriting. I mean, I've known him as a guitarist of note for
he was also
all that time.
doing producing.
Yeah, and producing. I didn't know him to be involved in songwriting. So
I
don't know to what extent, but another interesting thing.
1990 what?
1990.
Cool.
So 34 years
And the album
old.
was the Jane's Addiction album.
Yes.
It's called Jane's Addiction.
The original.
Okay, I got two more for you that I prepared, and they're both easily either way. So we're going to do both of them.
Okay.
We're going to do at least two more. Is that cool?
Yes, two more would be perfect, actually.
Cool. All right, so you should know some lyrics to Something So Strong.
Oh, back to... I need a second, and I shouldn't be taking a second.
Almost
love can make you weep, make you run for cover. That runs so deep. What does he say that runs so deep?
Love that runs so deep.
Bring life to frozen ground. Something so strong should carry us away. Yeah. Hard cut. My mind is stuck on the chorus. Just something so strong should carry us away. Just going around and around. I can't get back to the lyrics. I can't get out of the chorus. So yes,
Crowded House.
I do know that song. Crowded House.
Neil Finn and Mitchell Froom.
Yes.
One of the other band members, but not his brother. Not Neil Finn's brother.
The writers, yes. Yep. Right. Not Finn and Finn.
1987.
Yeah. I think I might have pegged it there. Probably I would have called it older, but that's surprising.
Well, that's actually on the album Crowded House, which I believe is
the
first album.
Inaugural album. Yeah, cool. Great song, great band, great whole thing. But
I actually I was going to pick something from Crowded House, and I tried to work through these pretty quickly to get stuff. But Crowded House, I stopped and hung around for a minute. I'm like, I want to hear that one, and I want to hear that one, and I want to hear that one. Which three albums do I want to hear in their entirety?
Now I'm hung up on the. My mind is going, oh yeah, and related. 6 Degrees of Separation or whatever. Split Ends.
Yep.
Squeeze, right? Are we not talking members of Crowded House who were involved in Squeeze?
I don't know that.
There's no relation there. Why is my mind going? Oh,
I don't know, but we can find that out. That's an Unk sub for down the road.
Yeah.
And we have to work out the mechanics of that 6 Degrees thing that we want to do. The Connections episode.
Connections, 6 Degrees of...
where...
6 Strings of Separation.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
You've got a name for it, but have you got the structure built?
Not yet. Okay, my go, and I'm going to say Crazy Train. Yeah, you got it. That's it. That's all you have to do.
That's all I have to do.
Is that technically considered a lyric?
Of course it is.
Yeah, it's got to be.
How considered a lyric?
Well, that's considered a lyric, yeah.
Let's see. Climb on Board. That's also ad-libbed.
All aboard.
Yeah, now I'm stuck.
Starts off with the word crazy.
But that's how it goes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Millions of people living as foes.
Oh yeah, and you know what? I'm thank you for giving me the gimme, but I'm going off the rails, which of course is the chorus. I can't really sing.
Maybe it's not too late to learn how to love and forget how to hate. I don't know why I know the lyrics to that song really, because I never really got into Ozzy Osbourne.
Neither do I, but those are actually pretty cool lyrics. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, they are.
Because that's your view of the world, right?
True. Yeah.
So
kind of. Socially conscious. Is that the
sure.
Right phrase?
And it's kind of odd to be talking about Ozzy as socially
conscious. Well, and not to short Ozzy, but
right. It's just not his. It's not his persona, if you will.
Right. But then that also makes me think back to songs like War Pigs, which was certainly
socially conscious.
Commentary in
Absolutely.
That regard, you know what I mean?
So maybe I was just ignorant being ignorant about Ozzy because he has this.
Persona, but that's a sad thing, right? Because the first thing that pops to mind is some of the sensationalism about him eating bats and
exactly. But I mean, the thing is, he was writing those songs even back in 1966 and 67 that were saying the world's fucked up and get your shit together.
Right. There's some bad people doing some bad shit.
Yeah. So, pardon me, Ozzy. I apologize. And they're going again up for induction as a soloist. So
Ozzy Osbourne wrote the song. 1980 is when it came out, and
wow,
Crazy Train. So, yeah, pretty cool. 1980. Wow,
that's what I said. That's a quote.
Okay, you get one, and I get one, and then we're
going to wrap up this segment after this.
Yes.
All right. So, I'm not going to tell you what album it's from. You should know some lyrics to "Skating Away."
Oh yeah, what a great song. Meanwhile, back in the year one, when you belonged to no one, you didn't stand a chance, son, if your pants were undone. It's kind of probably my favorite part of the song is the start there where the lyrics, each line has a pause after it with that melody in the background and the vocal melody, before the song gets rolling. Yeah. I just love it. The guitar, strum, the whole thing.
Cool. So my favorite lyrics from that are did you ever get the feeling that the story is too damn real and in the present tense, or that everybody's on the stage and you're the only person sitting in the audience.
You hit me with that, and the other day, in fact, tripped me up with that lyric. I guess it's probably been a couple weeks, but my mind couldn't hear the phrasing. I couldn't piece the words out to phrase them right.
And there's a really cool guitar technique, I want to say, where it's essentially a single strummed chord, but they cut off the vibration. It's a
right
kind of sound, and I'm not doing it any justice with my playing the mouth.
That did not sound like that.
No, but you know what I'm talking about. It's kind of in between the phrases of that particular part, and there's a whole bit about the rabbit running away and all of that. Some really, as is almost always the case with Ian Anderson, some really great lyrics.
Really, really great. He was such a great writer.
Yep. So 19
he's not dead, right?
He's not as far as I know.
Yeah. Is such a great writer.
19.
Oh wow. Oh, was that in the early 70s?
Right in the middle.
Really?
1975. War Child.
Yeah, I had it at like 1980 in my head. Yeah, right there.
Remember, just add 5 years to all of your guesses at a minimum.
Exactly.
That's pretty much what we figured out, right?
Exactly. 5 to 10 years, and you're probably closer
behind what you think it is.
Right. Further back.
All right. So you have one more before we end this segment,
and that was Ian Anderson.
Yes, it was.
I have one more. It's probably going to give up the little bit I've been doing when I roll this one out, because you've kind of touched on it a couple of times already. But give me some. You should know some lyrics to "Smooth Operator."
Oh, so this was all about the people that are being considered.
All of my clues have been
relative to the
inductee nominees for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for 2024.
Cool. That's. I did not catch that, although this
you
gave
did
it away.
Touch on it a couple.
Right,
you touched on the fact that two of the artists.
So Smooth Operator, Diamond Life, Lover Boy, moves in space with minimum waste to maximum joy,
etc. Right.
Something business flights. Well, not welfare nights. That's
City
not
Lights.
City Lights.
Flights.
Yeah. Sade.
Yeah. Absolutely. Again, another inductee. All of them. So I'm just gonna take 1 second to not to humor myself, but to cover what I just did for anybody else who might not have picked up. Sonny and Cher, Foreigner, Dave Matthews, Peter Frampton, Jane's Addiction, Kool and the Gang, Ozzy Osbourne, Sade. There are others, but those are the ones that I got to in this segment who are included in the list of Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I'm going to correct you because it's not Sonny and Cher.
Oh, it's only Cher. You're right. You're right.
Cher.
The song was by Sonny and Cher.
Yes.
But yes, you.
What year was that? 19. I'm going to say 80 or 81. Is that correct?
For what?
Sade.
Sade, 84.
Okay.
And written by Helen Adu and Ray St. John. So that's my
Helen Adu is Sade.
See, there you go. I had no idea. Yeah. So written by her herself in her real name, I assume.
I think I could easily be mistaken about this, but I believe Sade is what the endearment that her family calls her. If I'm not mistaken. And again, this is gonna be a correction in a future episode, but I'm almost certain that's the case.
Leave it there. It'll be a good correction and a reason to talk more.
All right, so that was our first shot at
Prime Twist and Shout.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah, I think it went okay. I had some fun with it.
I did too. I think we need to step it up next time. Maybe make them a little less easy, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe.
At least sprinkle in a couple to make it a little bit more challenging. Because
we had a couple of difficult ones. There were two at least that I didn't get. That I certainly stumbled on. But again, the point was to get to the songs,
right. Yeah.
So the people out there could be
enjoying
that.
I think that worked. I think we can build that into a.
That should be a real recurring piece. I think.
Cool.
I like it.
All right, I had fun with that. So let's. What else we got on the agenda?
We were going to move along to
Uncontrolled Substance and Ask.
Ask and Ye Shall Deceive after that. So Uncontrolled Substance next.
Right, and that's the covers version.
Right. We're going to talk about cover songs.
All right.
So let's get right on into that when you're ready. You ready?
Sure.
Okay, well, we're going to move on to, as we said, to Uncontrolled Substance, and this one is all about cover songs. Cover songs
so we've talked a bit about
cover edition.
You can't help yourself, can you?
I can't.
It's built right in. We've talked a bit about this cover and that cover in different episodes. We've even gone a little bit more in depth than just to mention a specific cover.
Yeah. Particular covers that we feel are like, some of the best done, and other
and here's the thing, in your
covers of note,
your estimation from what you told me is it has to be something where the cover artist is making it their own. Who was the do you remember the one that you said that they pulled it off perfectly, but it wasn't great because they just pulled it off perfectly?
Yeah. The thing that blocks me from remembering what you're talking about, but is the same thing, is a more recent iteration of that I heard on the radio the other day, and it's a country artist named Luke Combs doing a cover of Tracy Chapman's Fast Car.
Right.
And his version of it, even though it's a guy singing and whatever, it's very, very much in the same footprints
of what she did,
of her song, right? And I am a Tracy Chapman,
fan.
Worshiper.
Yeah.
And I'm not suggesting for a minute that Luke Combs was doing any disservice to her. And I have said, in fact, in past, that maybe those people doing sort of an exact replica are actually trying to say this was so good,
homage.
Nobody should mess with it.
Right.
But what I'm attracted to hearing, so doesn't mean crap on a stick,
right,
is somebody who thinks something creative, who wants to make it sort of their own signature on it.
Right.
So
absolutely. So,
and to another side note on that, Tracy Chapman thought enough of Luke Combs' version that she went to the Grammys and did a duet with him of her own song
very cool.
at the Grammys.
Very cool.
So how can I talk? It's just an example of what occurs to me. So it's not making a statement on the artist or their talent or any of that.
So
anyway,
originally this was going to be, here are my top half a dozen covers, my personal favorites, right? And I've got those with me, and we can go into those. But last night, prepping for the episode and giving myself an excuse to sit and watch videos, I reached out to about a dozen family and friends via text.
Yes, right.
And
you told me about this.
Hey, I'm recording the podcast tomorrow. We're going to talk about covers. What are your favorites? Okay, and I got 3/4 of those people responded.
Deluged.
3/4 of those people responded with more than one. Okay?
Right.
And I'm not in any way complaining. I was very glad to have the feedback. It was exactly what I was looking for. So, would you care to guess what the singular the singular favorite was amongst, now if we're talking about people from 30 to 60, white, black, wealthy, moderate income,
they're the most nominated in your
among my little group of people, right?
Group.
Okay, family and friends, coworkers.
I'm gonna have to. I got to jump to the one that always comes to mind for us, because what else would I jump to? And I have to ask if it's one of them done by Red Hot Chili Peppers.
No.
Huh. I'm out there then.
Johnny Cash doing "Hurt."
Oh, really?
It was the hands down, far and away.
Well, yeah,
the most people
deserving.
And apparently, I even saw a thing where Trent Reznor had posted on, not my song anymore.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He completely bowed to,
yeah,
and rightfully so. I mean, whatever happened there, no one denies that Johnny Cash just put his soul inside that thing.
So that was, like I said, far and away,
really,
the absolute amongst everyone.
The only reason I'm surprised is because even though, it's Johnny Cash and it's 9 Inch Nails and Trent Reznor, well known, it was still never. I didn't know of it to be still really well known.
Oh, dude, you're absolutely wrong. No, it is.
Yeah.
And I've done a little digging, and there's nobody that can say this cover is the ultimate cover.
Right.
There's no way to judge that, but it's by far the single most quoted, and not just by my friends.
Yeah.
So to cover the technical parts here, originally by Trent Reznor, the band was 9 Inch Nails, written by Trent Reznor. Downward Spiral was the album. 1994 was the year. I've captured in this case the same information on the covering artist. Cover. Okay, so 2002 was the year. The album was American 4, meaning Roman numeral 4. So it's American 4, The Man Comes Around. Okay. It was the last album that he did. Mm-hmm. The single for Hurt, the B-side. Now this is Johnny Cash's version.
Right.
Any guesses? Any?
I didn't know there was a single, and I didn't know it had a B-side. I have no idea.
Okay. Personal Jesus by Depeche Mode. Like,
yay!
Here's the thing: the fact that Johnny Cash, and again, he does a phenomenal rendition.
Absolutely.
But the fact that in 2002, when he's in his, I'm going to guess, late 70s, early 80s, right? Is familiar with Trent Reznor's work enough to want to cover the song.
Or even if, supposing he wasn't, and someone approached him and said...
Him being open enough to go to it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But the fact that the B-side is Depeche Mode...
equally as...
Yes, it's amazing to me.
I'm going to use the phrase, new material and that twist on things.
Absolutely.
I mean, come on, that is fantastic.
And again, I mean, that Trent Reznor, that was 1994,
right?
Okay, and Johnny Cash did it in 2002. Again, he was already well into his 70s,
right?
So
right.
I'm gonna kind of step as we've spoken. Go ahead.
The thing about that, as much as anything, that is appreciable. It doesn't diminish, in my mind, it doesn't diminish the quality of Johnny Cash's performance.
Oh, absolutely not.
But it adds to how much the juxtaposition of the whole thing adds to how much it just smacks you in the head. Like I still listen to that, and the whole time he's doing it, my brain is going, this is happening, man.
Yeah,
this is really a thing.
And
right
I think the thing is that I would want to add to that is, if Johnny Cash is not in your what a bad motherfucker list, you're an idiot.
Right.
Seriously, okay?
There you go.
I mean,
there you go with an example of things taking that have to be in the rock and roll umbrella.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And Johnny Cash did plenty of, obviously, roots are in country music, but rockabilly right off the bat.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
rock blues country right off the bat.
Sure.
I mean,
this is a conversation that you and I had earlier to clarify about what is rock and roll relative to the Hall of Fame, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, at any rate,
or Bonnie Raitt.
Oh, see, don't do that. She's in here.
Oh, okay.
She's in the list.
Okay.
That's another one of the near the top is Angel from Montgomery from John Prine.
What a cover.
Yes, exceptional.
What a
I think I have, do I have the information captured on that one here? I don't know if I do.
I mean, that will, if you haven't listened to Bonnie
Angel from Montgomery, originally John Prine, written by John Prine on the album John Prine, 1971, and then covered by Bonnie Raitt in 74 on her album Streetlights.
If the song doesn't move you as John Prine song,
it definitely should as Bonnie Raitt. And if it doesn't move you at all, Jack, you dead.
Right. Check your pulse.
Among other people, my ex happened to hit me back with that one. Actually, this morning she's like, "Hey, if you're still looking, here's my vote." Right. Thank you, Diane. I appreciate that for reaching out.
Yeah.
My friend Matt, guitar player here of some note in the St. Louis area, in a couple of different bands. We go to see him all the time. He had several. Hey Baby, new in parentheses, New Rising Sun by Temple of the Dog. Baker Street by Foo Fighters. I didn't know they did a cover. I need to listen to that.
Great cover.
I'm sure they did. It's Dr. Dave. Everything he does is great. No Quarter by Tool. I don't know that one.
I don't know that. I'm interested to hear it though, because I liked me some Tool.
He gave me Crossroads by Cream, and I'm only disqualifying that because we had pretty much agreed, you and I, that no blues standards were allowed because they've been covered by so many people. But so much of rock and roll comes from there that I can't really disallow it.
Yeah, I got to back up on that. My mind got really distracted by the Tool No Quarter. Is that
I don't know. I don't know what it's covered from.
Nils Lofgren? No Quarter.
That,
I gotta look that up. You go.
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna be.
And then he also gave me Little Wing by Stevie Ray Vaughan.
I was just thinking of that the other day.
However, he did come back and say, "Wait, I think my favorite might just be Dust My Broom by Elmore James, which he considers the first rock and roll song, blowing out." He said, "Not rocket." He didn't say not. He used a different word. Not Rocket 88. That's like smooth jazz compared to Elmore James's Dust My Broom. So that's my buddy Matt. And again, I've got plenty more here. My friend across the street, Chris, she had Hurt as one of hers, but she had Ghost doing Jesus Knows Me from Genesis. And I didn't realize that I knew either song, and I know the Genesis version.
I'm really trying to think of Ghost.
I didn't, and it's pretty dark. I mean, this not the band. This song to begin with, and the cover is even darker.
Yeah.
That was another one that got a couple of votes. And she also had Hurt, as I said. And again, thank you, Chris. I got Chili Peppers, Roller Coaster.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that both Chili Peppers, I don't know that every song was a cover, but that most of one album was a cover. And I also didn't realize that
What Hits?
That Metallica had an album that was all covers. And apparently
I had no idea.
It was two sides that, like most albums are, I would imagine. And one side was covers they'd already done.
Now, also, to clarify, you're talking about an actual pressed vinyl album with sides.
Yes. And the other side was, it might have been, see here, I'm not sure if it was two albums or two sides. And the other one was all new covers from them.
Really?
And
that's so
one
cool.
of the other covers that came up that was them.
I would like to go look at the list and see what covers they did, because there could be.
They did a bunch.
Yeah. Especially if they got outside their genre, I'd really be.
Interested. And I've got some killer ones here for you.
By the way, to go back to my interruption earlier, the Tool No Quarter is Led Zeppelin's No Quarter.
Okay.
They covered Led Zeppelin's No Quarter.
So 311 does a version of Love Song by The Cure.
Yeah.
I watched that video last night. That's damned good.
A really good version of that.
My son, here's one from my son Paul. Metallica's version of Turn the Page is better than Bob Seger's.
No.
I knew you would say that, and I might have to disagree with you there.
Yeah.
And he had 9 Inch Nails there.
That's interesting, because those are the kind of things that
start fights.
No, well they don't. I don't think they start fights, but they're good. You know, that my reaction to that is.
You're a Bob Seger. You're a big Bob Seger fan. I was a Bob
Seger fan, but also I don't think I'm above. You know, if listening with a
new ear,
objective ear, but how can I? It's because it's art, it's subjective, so I can't say, I think because.
And I did watch the video for Turn the Page, for Metallica's version.
Yeah,
I'm betting money it was never on MTV. It's extremely dark.
Yeah.
Very, very dark.
Yeah.
And it kind of lent to the immensity of the feeling of the song.
Yeah.
Sound of Silence by Disturbed was also a popular one. Here's one I didn't even think about.
Which I appreciate, but I don't enjoy. But, for whatever it's worth.
Sure. I hadn't thought about this being a cover. I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
It's a cover of a Dolly Parton song.
Is.
I didn't realize that.
No, I knew that. I'm not crazy about it, but it is a good cover. I mean, she.
Oh, yeah.
Whitney Houston's voice, what are you going to do?
Right. Smooth Criminal, Alien Ant Farm.
By Alien Ant Farm.
I hadn't seen or heard that. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's real good.
Lit, I think was what I was calling it last night. That's my friend Kathy on those.
Props to her.
Absolutely.
That's a great call.
And then my youngest son, he had, and he's one that's contributed to us. He was one of the ones that asked us about the origin of the show name.
Bless his heart, he's been following the show.
He has, and he's always got great input.
He's not embarrassed,
and he's not afraid to say we're wrong either one of us. He likes.
No, that's true.
He likes taking that to both
and we
of us.
appreciate that.
Absolutely. So he had Cake doing Gloria Gaynor, I Will Survive.
Yeah.
Johnny Cash again covering Trent Reznor. Melvins covering Kiss, Going Blind. And when I heard that, I was with my friend Wayne, who was a Kiss fan.
When you heard the song?
No, when I got the text.
When you got the text, yeah.
And we sat and watched it, and we both agreed that by far, Melvins was better than Kiss. Yeah. And again, he's a Kiss fan.
Yeah.
And my son went on to say that there was an album that they did was all covers, including Melvins, that was covered Queen, David Bowie, Roxy Music, The Kinks. So you and I, both you and I, need to go and find that album and listen to that.
No kidding. Recently, Weezer did a similar album of all covers.
All covers.
Yeah.
Well, you need to keep me apprised of that stuff because I need to. Yeah.
I say recently, within the last couple of years, but still,
Well, that's recently for me.
Yeah.
Another favorite, my wife's personal favorite, and then a couple of other people was All Along the Watchtower by Jimi Hendrix.
Covering Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan. I know I'm running long here. I'm sorry, but
I'm
Green
enjoying
Manouchi, as we've talked about before, was another favorite. My daughter, my oldest daughter.
So much stuff to think about. I'm just dying.
Faith by Limp Bizkit.
I haven't heard that. Is that George Michael's Faith?
Yes, absolutely.
I don't think I've heard that.
And then Tainted Love by Marilyn Manson.
Oh, yeah.
And it made me watch another Marilyn Manson, Sweet Dreams. And if you want to get creeped out, watch Marilyn Manson's Sweet Dreams. It's very scary.
I get the Marilyn Manson thing. I'm not a big fan, but the mention of Tainted Love reminds me of the Tainted Love dance version from the 80s by I can't think of the name of the band now, but that's
would have been 90s, not 80s. 80s would have been the original song. The dance version would have been early 90s.
Tainted Love.
Yeah. Soft Cell was the original band.
Soft Cell. Yeah.
And then another one from my daughter, not a favorite, but it took me by surprise. Goodbye Earl from the Dixie Chicks.
Yeah.
Done by Me First and the Gimme Gimmes.
No familiarity.
and she's a fan. She's not really a big country fan, but she's like, it was a song she grew up with, so it kind of hit a note with her. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I'm backing you up here because
go ahead.
Tainted Love is originally a song composed by Ed Cobb, formerly of the American group The Four Preps, in 1964, recorded by Gloria Jones. Soft Cell was not the original.
I didn't think they were.
But in the I thought you were saying.
Said they were. When I said it was covered, you're right. I did say that a song was covering a that someone was covering a soft cell song. But that was my
familiarity with the song. Yeah. Okay.
Just a couple more here. Metallica doing "Turn the Page." There's another one.
Another person
saying that. So at any rate, I personally have more covers that I could go through, but I probably spent enough time just talking about what people contributed,
which is great.
And so a couple of things there. One, thank you to all those people who I named and those I didn't.
Super appreciation for that.
That's great. I truly appreciate the input. It gave us 20 minutes of really cool shit to talk about. And part of the reason that I think, not to get too far off here, but any podcast that is really looking for interaction and to engage,
to have a sort of a conversation with listeners, the best thing you can get, because it takes you out of your box, out of your perspective.
Exactly.
We wouldn't have thought of 30% of those songs.
Oh, at most.
Ourselves.
Absolutely. I mean, I would have come up with Hurt.
Right. Getting that feedback is just
it's
a thrill for us. Yes. You know what I mean? It's a thrill.
And the thing is, this happened via text because I reached out to people via text. But here's one more time that I'm asking, guys, whoever's out there listening, man.
Absolutely.
We don't know what you're thinking if you don't tell us.
Right.
Please. If
you hear...
If there's anything that you want to say, like, hey, you guys are idiots, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, you got this wrong, or you missed this, or why didn't... My brother-in-law, Jim, the very first episode was like, we were talking about live albums, and he was like, you guys are wrong, nobody mentioned Woodstock, that's the ultimate live album. Give me more of that, please. So...
we have said, and we can't emphasize enough, even if it's an episode that you've listened to that we did weeks ago,
right?
But one of the segments, one of the games on there, was really enjoyable for you. We're probably almost certainly going to do that game again. If you got a suggestion for the game, for whatever segment, for whatever artist,
or a suggestion for a game, for that matter. If there's something
suggestion for a game,
maybe we're smart enough to pull it off. Who knows? But
absolutely, right. We'll say get to your podcast format, send it to us in the comments, make sure we get it, and we can get on top of it. It's the greatest.
Stepping away from reaching out to y'all to reach back to us, it was really cool.
Yeah, that's a blast.
Because literally, I sent the text to 10 or 12 people. And I sat back and I cracked a beer and then ding, 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 ding. And I sat last night and watched the videos to all the ones I wasn't familiar with.
Yeah.
So I spent 2.5 hours.
Right.
Just like, I didn't know about this.
What a great exercise.
Wow, this is cool. Oh, look at that.
And what's better than going to do technical research so enjoyably, directed by other people's
family and friends,
exactly.
It was a blast.
That's great.
So
that is
at
great.
any rate, that's going to be the.
And I loved that.
And there was that at any rate again. I gotta
There it
stop
is.
that.
At any rate.
Okay, so
At every rate, you get the opportunity to.
Anyway, instead of at any rate, I'll just say anyway, really slowly and deliberately. I believe that's going to take us to.
Let's go back to it anyway. But
anyway, I'm going to stop talking now and let you talk because I just realized I've been talking for 20 minutes.
Yeah, I should. Well, it was quality, and I'm not exaggerating. That was really quality and stuff. Like I enjoyed that because. All the reasons. I don't have to go into it and spin off into another thing.
Thank you for your patience, though. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And, thanks for your indulgence out there. I am going to talk about only one artist, thinking about the various ways I could have gone about this assignment, as it were, to do a piece on cover songs. One thing kept coming back to me, and that was Linda Ronstadt.
Okay.
And the reason it was Linda Ronstadt is because as I was thinking through a lot of cover songs, maybe not as current or in the vein of a lot of the songs that were just mentioned by a lot of the people you hit, but a couple of her cover songs still resonate with me and they're not new, they're 80s, they're 70s.
But I think if I can jump in really quickly, they weren't hits before she did them.
Well, some weren't, some were, but they weren't. They weren't
as
almost without exception. They weren't as big a hits as she made them, which is part of the reason that I started kind of going down the road. And it's really kind of remarkable. I can't find evidence, although when I think about it, especially in the 40s, Sinatra, that kind of thing, a lot of those guys were only doing kind of covers, but standards, but they were doing plenty of songs that were written for them.
Right.
They didn't write their own songs, right? But they weren't necessarily doing so many songs that were already known songs.
Right.
And
there were songwriters that were working for them.
Right. And even if that's a consideration, what she managed to do during her career, the popular parts of her career, which spanned a pretty long period of time,
2.5 decades, I'd say,
was to do almost exclusively cover music, cover songs that were already known songs performed by somebody else,
right?
And
turn them into her own,
and make them her own, like own them and make them the thing that rings in your head.
Right. You don't hear the original. I mean, I don't hear Warren Zevon when somebody does.
It's so easy. Right. But no, that's It's So Easy's Buddy Holly. You're right. Yeah, Poor Pitiful Me. You're right. So I did a little research, but it turns out there's, you could spend a week digging into the ways that this can be looked at. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sort of chip down a list of the top 12 or so that are probably either memorable or ranked, right?
Okay.
And just let everybody's sort of head spin about it. But then there's a couple of factoids here. So with the song You're No Good, which written by Clint Ballard, previously a hit, right? Previously done by somebody else. She got a number 1 out of that on the top 100 charts in the US. When Will I Be Loved by the Everly Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
She took that to number 2. Blue Bayou by Roy Orbison.
Yes.
She took that to number 3. This is all top 100 charts in the US. I mean,
right. Hot
these
100.
Are smash songs, right? I mean, she made them into huge hits. That'll Be the Day, Buddy Holly, number 5. It's So Easy, Buddy Holly, number 5. Heat Wave, previously done by Martha and the Vandellas, written by Holland Dozier and Holland, number 5. Ooh Baby Baby by Smokey and the Miracles, number 7. You Know It Hurts So Bad, written by Randazzo, Weinstein, and Hart, number 8. I didn't take note of who previously did that or previously hit with that. It was done by other people. The Tracks of My Tears, Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. She took to 25. Long Time, written by Gary White. She took to 25. Poor Pitiful Me by Warren Zevon, 31. Tumbling Dice by the Rolling Stones. She took to 32.
Right. And where did that ever get on the Stones on the chart?
Right.
I'd be interested to know.
I did. Yeah, it would be good to know. I love the song. I love both versions of the song, and she made her own. She made it her own thing. And then and that list goes on. She did 287 noted cover songs.
No shit. Really?
287 cover songs.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a huge catalog. It's
here's
amazing.
The thing, like, I would bet you, I couldn't have told you, I personally couldn't have told you,
right,
that she made her career doing cover songs.
Right.
Because she made them all her own. Right?
That's what I'm saying. You think about a lot of the songs I just named, and a lot of other songs.
Yeah.
And you think of her first.
Yes, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And to say, for me, to say that I think of her before I think of Roy Orbison, Smokey and the Miracles, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Warren Zevon.
Yeah. And you're
That's
a huge
a
Warren
statement.
Zevon fan. Yeah.
I mean, it's just, it's great.
I thank you for sharing that, because I had no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I guess I knew because I was able to say, oh, yeah, that's a cover, but like you did, I never did the math.
Right. You know? Right. And I hadn't either, but I was like, man, when I started letting it swim around in my head was filled with Linda Ronstadt songs that I recognized as hers that I knew were covers.
287 was
287 cover songs.
Jesus.
And take it up another level here. I'll try to do this in order of, to the pinnacle point. She headlined tours on cover songs for years, which is another remarkable statistic and accomplishment for her. You can, there are people, because she was so-and-so's girlfriend, because she was it's undeniable. You can't diminish that accomplishment.
If anybody who's saying that's an idiot.
Yeah, just an idiot. You know what I mean? I was scrolling through websites and seeing some of that. Well, of course, because she was hot and this and that. You're not with that voice because you're hot. You don't accomplish 11 Grammys. She got 11 Grammys on cover songs on people's.
Right.
I mean, unbelievable.
I read a quote actually recently about somebody saying that, like, you couldn't ask for a better set of pipes, I think was the exact quote.
Yeah. I mean, her voice, listen to some of her live performances. Her voice is amazing. Worked with Jackson, not worked with as in recorded with, although that's true too, but toured with and headlined sometimes for Jackson Browne, the Eagles, Little Feat, the Neville Brothers, Dan Fogelberg. The list just goes on and on. I mean, she was huge. And she worked with Emmylou Harris, Dolly Parton, Aaron Neville, Carla Bonoff, James Ingram. I mean,
the list is huge.
Just huge. So an amazing example of, and I think as far as I could find, and I guess maybe I'm inviting anybody out there.
Tell me you're wrong.
When I was, the more I looked into it, the more I was like, she was an exception through the late 60s, I guess, right? 70s, 80s, and still today. Who else has done something like that in a career? Is there anybody else?
I mean, top of mind, I'm going to say no.
In any musical genre, maybe in like jazz, doing so many standards. There's
or blues,
where
people do it's traditional that they do other people's songs.
And somebody remarkable, like I think possibly Stevie Ray Vaughan could have pulled that off if he did all covers of blues standards, because he was amazing at turning them into his own thing, Sure. But who else did that in their career as a cover artist? Like, she reached the zenith with all that
And I know
stuff.
she's a member of the Hispanic Musicians Hall of Fame.
Yeah, she has several
and
Hispanic.
I'm not sure about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, although if she's not, then
shame
they're
on
stupid.
them. Shame on them. I think I would need to look that up, but I think she's in there. I do want to, before I end here, give credit to a couple websites. Secondhandsongs.com helped me out a bit. Song Facts, some sites like that, but Wikipedia was again immensely helpful.
Don't be self-conscious now. By the way, I'm going to jump in 2014. She was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Wikipedia was immensely helpful. Go donate to Wikipedia, folks. And there was a website that I haven't utilized to just even a micron of its potential. That is amazing. If you're interested in cover song facts, data, numbers, rankings, that kind of thing, it's mostlymusiccovers.com. This guy apparently updates it a couple of times a year, and he digs in. I mean, there is so much information on this site and so many links. about whose songs have been covered, who are the top, who covered them, which covers did well. I mean, he just does the full scope that nobody else needs to do any work. This guy's just done it all. So again, shout out to him. I got some information off that site as well, and I will be going back to utilize that site. So that's my part of the segment.
I'm sorry for making everyone wait, because that was
on the Linda
amazing,
Ronstadt. I
dude.
just loved it.
So really like the first place that I know of Linda Ronstadt from was the Stone Ponies.
Sure.
Different Drum was the song that they hit.
Yeah.
And that was Glenn Frey and one other member of the Eagles, maybe Henley, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Bell, yeah.
Okay. But I know there was Glenn Frey was in there.
Right.
Apparently when she went into the Hall of Fame in 2014, what Glenn Frey said was, Linda lives in a place where art trumps commerce, where self-exploration trumps self-exploitation, and where hard work and integrity trump fame and failure. She never wanted to be a star. She just wanted to make good music.
Yeah.
And I can't think of a better, more eloquent way to say what you to sum up all of what you just said.
Right. She just had, she had herself in the whole thing, and it shows in the quality of the music that she produced, even if it was music that was already done by someone else.
Absolutely.
I think anybody can relate to hearing a song and thinking, I love that song so much. I want to
honor it,
shout it out. I want to honor it. I want to sing it. You know,
and
what
then
I mean?
to be able to have the.
I want to express what I feel when I hear that song.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And to have the physical wherewithal, the ability, the pipes to be able to do it.
And make
There's
that
no doubt
happen.
that she was able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's cool. That's my piece on the
covers.
Yeah. Uncontrolled Substance covers.
And I've still got a bunch of
edition.
stuff for this. So we're going to revisit covers.
Oh, yeah. There's
and
so
hopefully
much cool
we can find something along the lines of what you found that just makes one person stand so far above the crowd.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's going to be the end of this segment.
Yes.
We did have Ask and Ye Shall Deceive scheduled for this episode, but we've run so long talking about the covers that I think we're going to let that go.
Yeah.
And maybe pick it up next time if that works for you, Reed.
Yeah, we're being a little careful, I guess, about how long we go, and we've been pushing an hour with a couple of the episodes. We don't want to overstay our welcome, and any feedback you guys have about that too, to hit on this again. Maybe there's no reason for us to be concerned that we do an hour and a half episode if it's enjoyable. And
I just want to point out that we're running over an hour and a half, talking about running over an hour and a half.
I love it. It's like we're in a loop, a time loop or something.
All right. So
Anyway, so been great. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging in there. Commentary, all that stuff.
Yeah, this was a really good one. I had a lot of fun here.
Very enjoyable.
And mostly it was about input from other folks.
Right.
Was, so.
Yeah, that really made it good. Please, if you like the show, like it. Please
share it.
Let other people know. Yeah.
And hey, listen, if you're so inclined to comment, get on your podcast platform and comment.
Yeah.
We're looking for the input.
And let us know what your podcast platform is. If we're not on there, we'll get on there.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
We're out.
See you next time.